I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who is watching for just taking the time to allow this podcast in your home, in your car, in your day, whatever you're doing right now as you listen to this or watch this. I just want to say thank you. And with that being said, I pray that this episode, as always, I pray that it empowers. I pray that it inspires, transmutes pain into purpose, brings some things up to the surface. Welcome back to the Don't Recycle Project. This podcast was created to break generational curses, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. This is going to be one of them ones. Like, I'm so excited. I just want to say thank you. Like,
Of course. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, I have an amazing, first of all, let me tell you about this woman. She is like the smallest little person that you will meet, but has such a big energy, so much life inside of her. She hosts like retreats. She hosts workshops for women where they can come together and be vulnerable, safe spaces for people to heal. She also was working with big companies like Warner Music Group, hosting therapy sessions. Like, Miss Chakirah is in the building.
Hey, I'm here. Happy to be here.
Yes.
So happy to be here. I'm so grateful that you invited me to be in this space, and we're going to get to some things, as always.
As always, we actually met via IG. IG's been the plug lately, but we met via...
It has. I definitely saw your podcast. I was like, oh, don't recycle the trauma. I'm like, I love the way that sounds. So we connected, and it's been magic ever since.
It's been magic. And we actually, from that moment, we like linked up right away.
Yeah.
Like, we talked on the phone like we was old high school friends for hours.
Yeah.
Like, we were just catching back up. It just felt so genuine. And so I'm grateful to have you here on the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, we definitely connected. I was like, girl, I feel like I know you.
Yeah.
We were on the phone for hours, legit. Yeah, it was a great experience.
Let's get into it.
Let's get
I want to start
it.
off talking about motherhood.
Oh, baby.
I had the honor, I had the pleasure of meeting your mother. You had a panel that I was blessed to be a part of. She had a panel. It was a women's group, and her mother was in town for that particular date. Yeah. And it was just so refreshing. I wanted to tell you that it was just so refreshing to see you and your mom. Oh. Like, y'all's dynamic. You were able to cry and just be so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then your mom was like right there, like nurturing you. It just felt very like you guys have a tight bond. Like, you can see that from the outside looking in.
I appreciate that. It took time.
Yeah.
And I'm super grateful that me and my mother are in this, this space together where she can see me do what I feel is my purpose, which is heal others and heal myself in the meantime. Yeah. So it was nice to have her actually watch me from the mother-daughter standpoint, but also see me as, this is my job, this is my profession. Right. So to see me in that dynamic
is definitely,
exactly take me
like,
serious,
because
look what I became, look what I'm still becoming, what I'm evolving into. So it was nice to be in that space.
It was beautiful.
With her.
I could feel the energy, like I could feel the love. So I was just like, it was really, really, really refreshing.
Yeah, for me too. It was definitely, I think that was the first time my mom actually got to really see me deep dive into what I do. So it was definitely like a full circle moment.
Kudos
for me.
to y'all. Like, y'all are
Thank
doing
you.
it. I wanted to ask, with that being said, like, you have a daughter.
Yeah.
And what is something that you're really, really intentional about either passing on or not passing on? Like, what's something that you feel like you either had or did not have, growing up that you feel like is a must with your daughter?
For me, there's a couple of things. So things that I feel like she needs to have is definitely a form of like self-worth, self-love, and independence. So for me, I teeter-totter. I do a lot of balancing with her because my mother definitely raised me to be super, super independent. Like, very, very, very like alpha female, and that had its ups and downs with me.
I'm still out of your feminine energy.
It definitely did. I had a hard time with asking for help. Definitely became a people pleaser.
Yeah.
So it had its triggers and things of that nature. But with my daughter, I'm definitely more so like, listen, if you need help, open your mouth.
Ask for it.
Ask for it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? We actually need a village. And I wasn't really used to that or leaning on people or asking for help or receiving that help. It was very much like, I got it. I'm going to do it on my own.
That's so toxic to our kids, because I have 2 daughters and they're teenagers. And it's like, although I love to come off like I'm this strong superwoman, I think it's also, that's beautiful to show them, you have a strong mom who can make it happen. I'm going to make it shake if I have to. But it's also healthy to see a mother who is not so much weak, but soft.
Yeah.
I would say that word. Like, I have soft
Very
moments. True. I cry. I am human. I feel, you know what I mean? Like, this is actually affecting me today. So I think it's actually helpful to like show them all sides.
I mean, for a while, I didn't show my daughter that side. Like, I
Yeah.
remember, I mean, as recent as maybe a couple years ago, I just started to cry in front of her because one day she actually came up to me. She's like, "Mommy, you never cry." And I'm
Wow.
like, "That's not true." And she's
Yeah.
like, "You don't cry, you don't have feelings." And then I really realized, like, I'm human and it's okay for me to be human and vulnerable in front of my daughter. I don't have to always show her this strength, like,
Yeah.
Mommy got it, I'm gonna pull it together. You know what I mean? So at that moment when she voiced it to me, I was like, all right, like, it's okay, Chakirah, like, let go. Like,
Let
it's okay to,
go.
it's
Yeah.
okay.
I think I remember seeing my mom cry maybe once or twice,
Yeah.
like growing up. It just wasn't
I
like
feel like the
a
same
emotional
thing.
household that emotions were out in the open. It was like
Yeah.
everybody was crying silently in the room, wherever
And
they
that's
cried
what I,
at.
and that's how
what
we
I
ended up
mean?
growing up that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
makes you kind of suppress things.
Very much so.
Yeah, but I just think that's a beautiful thing that
Yeah.
you're aware of it, because sometimes I feel like we can overcompensate.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have this, so I'm gonna give you almost too much. So I think
Yeah.
there is a healthy balance at the same time.
Yeah, everything is about balance for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely big on that. And just her becoming herself.
Yeah.
Whoever it is that she wants to be, like, yes, she came from me, but my daughter is very much her own person.
I love that.
So whatever she believes in, whatever she wants to do, I'm gonna stand for 100%. And you know, I just want her to be comfortable in herself and the growing and the evolving and the changing that's gonna happen. So I'm just really big on, like, be who you want to be.
That part. I think, like, identity. Because if they don't know their identity, like, the world will give them one. You know what I mean?
Very
So
much
it's like
so.
they have to really become sure of themselves. The earlier, the better. I know it's a process. Like, you
Yeah.
got to live life. You got to experience, different situations. And then you
Of
can
course.
start to see who you really are. Like, I'm still finding out my identity
I
at
was
my
about
age.
to say the same.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I'm still changing and evolving as time goes. Like,
Yeah.
who I was last month, I may not be
Let's
that.
get into that, though, because I feel like with that leads me to my next point,
Yeah.
the imposter syndrome.
Mm.
Because the imposter syndrome, I feel like maybe at one point it was like a lower version of you or a lesser or a previous version, or however you want to see it.
Mhm.
But sometimes we get stuck. And now when it's time to step into bigger roles
Yeah.
that you're actually ready for, you still see yourself as not enough. Do you
Yeah.
feel like you struggle like with that?
So for me, I do a lot of self-sabotaging
Mm,
all the time.
yeah.
Even now, it's
Yeah.
certain things that I may be overqualified for, and
Mm.
literally, I'll be like, "No, Chakirah, because this, or
You talk
this one,
yourself right out
and
of it.
someone else did, and when this person did it, they had this, that, and I'm literally like, and the comparison is the thief of joy,
Yeah.
all those things. But I am my biggest critic, and
We all
sometimes
are. I feel
sometimes
like
the
we
worst
all-
enemy. Sometimes the worst
Why
enemy.
though? Like, why are we like
It's-
this?
You know what's funny? I'm really still trying to deep dive because I feel
Yeah.
like it's a learning process. And I
Yeah.
feel like, of course, it may be something that I learned
Yeah.
when I was younger that I clearly need to
I'm
unlearn.
like, do I like pain? Like, do I low key have like a
Sometimes you end
fetish
up
with pain?
asking yourself-
Because why am I doing like why we know what's going to happen? If
Why
you
do we
choose
show up
this.
the way we do?
Yeah, but it's like just comfort. It's just comfort.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable, but it's
But
the
it's what
comfort
we're
our
used
mind
to.
knows, and it's what we're used to. So we've made
Yeah.
it comfortable, even though it's really not. I feel you so much on that. But this year I told myself I am allowing myself to be uncomfortable and grow and see myself in the space and the identity that I am today, not who I used to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I completely understand. Like, I'm telling myself, like, take the risk.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
What do you have to
It's
lose?
okay. And I always believe, like, there's always a lesson in failure.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, like, when people are like, oh, you're so,
Mhm.
amazing, you're so happy, you're so energetic. And I'm like, you're so loving. I'm like, that comes from pain. Like, my
Yeah.
personality and the way people love me and gravitate, because I was in such a dark place.
Wow.
I went through so much pain and I had to do so much healing because, that's why I'm so full of love now.
Yeah.
But I went through a lot of tough, hard things, and I did it alone.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like that's why I'm so loving and so caring, and I'm so big on, like, helping people save themselves from self-defeat, because I know what it's like. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what Instagram looks like, social media, all these happy pictures. I'm like, oh, that day I cried, that day I was stressed out, that day I couldn't figure
That's
it out.
real.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm human just like everyone else. So regardless of what people may see on the outside, I'm still dealing with very, very deep emotions and feelings. So yeah.
You wear it well, you're beautiful. And it's like,
Thank you.
I feel like that's the gift, is like, they say, people who go through the most,
Mhm.
there's a reason, because you're supposed to, carry a certain kind of light. Like, I don't feel like unless you've seen certain depths of darkness,
Yeah.
you would be so bright. So, I mean, you were chosen. You were chosen.
Well, thank you, God. But sometimes I'm like, all right, don't choose me anymore.
Ease up. Let me,
Please, don't choose me this week. Yeah.
What about relationships? What about dating? I saw you got a new boo.
I do.
Yes.
I love him. You know what it is?
You look so
And
happy.
I am, when I tell you happy is like, I'm like, is there a word after happy? Like, what's after that?
Bliss.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so you know what it is for me? I've been in a lot of relationships, and at that time, I felt like it was coming from a place of lack. And because I
Mm,
lacked so much, I was literally like overindulging or overgiving. Everything was like,
yeah.
and I was ending up drained.
Okay.
So I feel like for me, and of course, I was dating different men, but I was getting the same outcome.
Mm,
So for me, I had to take a step back and I had
yeah.
to really I had to stop playing the victim. I had to see what I was doing to end up in the same situations. And I feel like with this relationship here, because I've evolved and I've learned to love myself and learn my triggers or learned
Yeah.
what I will and won't deal with,
Mm-hmm.
this man, like when I tell you, a gift from God.
Talk about it.
When I tell you, when I think, and I don't necessarily compare one relationship to
Right,
another,
right.
but as far as me and how I show up,
Yeah.
I've never had a man literally regulate my emotions for me. I've never
Wow.
had a man do what I do for other people. I've never experienced
Wow.
that. When I tell you this man puts his all into me,
Mm,
when he speaks over me, he prays with me, like
wow.
he literally shows me me. And it's
Mm,
different when someone's like, "Oh, she's pretty and she's great and oh, good job." But when I tell you, he literally like, "No, this is what you should do. Make sure you're pushing yourself."
mm.
Affirmations. He's
He's not a
like,
yes man.
no, no. And
Wow.
and I'm not for nothing. I am a fiery Leo. And when I tell you, I know I got
Oh,
a lot of mouth.
yeah.
He,
Oh, I know about y'all. Yeah. I know.
when I need to, he's very
Yeah.
much like, no, you need to relax. And I'm like, relax.
Why?
Me?
So only you can get me together like
I'm
this.
like,
Yeah.
relax. But
But I will.
he
Yeah.
he very much is like, he's so well rounded. I just love his mind. I just love the
Mm,
way he treats other people,
yeah.
himself, the way he treats
That's
himself is such a,
amazing.
it's just, this is when I tell you different. The
Yeah.
maturity level, like even when it was a situation where something made me uncomfortable
Mm,
and I'm so used to being reluctant of saying anything
yeah.
because,
People
whatever.
pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knew like the energy was off and he was like, no, we're going to talk it out. Just tell me, like, I'm going to talk you through it. Like, what is it that
Yeah.
bothered you? What can I
Oh,
fix?
wow. So he's very
This
attentive.
is, yeah.
This is different.
This
Wow.
is,
That's beautiful. I see you posting. I'm like,
this
she's in
is,
love. She's in love and it looks beautiful. It looks good
uh,
on you.
thank you so much.
You guys look so happy. I'm like,
It's
that's
so
that's
amazing
so
to
healthy
be
for your
here.
daughter to see.
Yeah. And
It's
that's
just
another thing. I'm so excited to allow her to see a man love me properly or to see me love someone else properly. Just
right.
the joy and the happiness and
Yeah.
even just the communicating. Because of
Yeah.
course, relationship have their ups and downs,
Mm.
but just to see the level of communication that we have for one another is just,
It's
I'm
beautiful.
just really happy to be here. Yeah.
Although relationships are beautiful,
Yeah.
there's a process I feel like we all had to go through, like to really sit with
Yeah.
ourselves, the relationship with ourselves. Let's talk about that.
Oh,
Because I feel like you said a minute ago, you said you had to clear out some things
yeah.
because I feel like you would have never even been able to see him the way you see him right now
Yeah.
if you didn't have that, with yourself, that kind of clarity within yourself.
Yeah. So it took me a while to get here. And I'm
Yeah.
still, and I feel like I'm still evolving and I'm still changing and I'm still learning
Mm-hmm.
myself because I am still dealing with things that maybe happened in my childhood that are causing me to act the way I am or show up the way I am as an adult now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, learning myself took time.
Yeah.
I went through the depression. I went through the confusion. I went
Yeah.
through the conflict. I went through, and I'm not talking about, oh, this was like a day or two a week and I'm healed.
Yeah. No.
No, like
Yeah.
healing is linear. It's going to continue.
Yeah.
And I went through a dark phase for a very long time. And a lot
Yeah.
of people didn't know, but I had to really tap into myself because at
Mm.
that point, I wasn't speaking to anybody. So I started to,
Wow.
journal and reflect and like affirmation. I had to speak over
'Cause it feels like
myself.
nobody can help you anyway. Like you can't, it's like
Yeah.
a moment where you can't even really talk to anybody about it. It's like God really just
You
pulls
gotta
you out
hone
of,
in.
and you have
Yeah.
to just sit,
Sit
sit
in
with
it.
yourself,
And that's it. Look,
sit
the
through
way
the
you said
fire
that,
of it.
the
You
way
know
you
what I
said sit
mean?
with yourself, for a long time, I couldn't like sit alone.
Yeah.
And I was wondering like, oh, like I'm going out and I'm hanging out and I'm doing all these things.
Busy, busy,
But
busy.
when
Yeah.
yeah. And then when I sat with myself, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm super sad. I'm super like,
Yeah.
I'm unhappy,
Anxious.
anxious. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything. So when I learned to sit with myself and I
Mhm.
started to ask myself certain questions to
Yeah.
just reflect on how I'm
Mm.
showing up or what I'm doing or what, certain things are, that's when I started to get to the real me.
Yeah. It's the most
Yeah.
beautiful feeling though. Like, I mean, it's like this feeling when you're running from yourself. It's like a lot of, a lot of feelings, anxiety, there's depression, but it's like when you finally just surrender to just the process of it, it
Yeah.
just feels so like good to just
When you finally,
wow,
when
like
you
you know what I
accept
mean? Like
it.
you finally get what you really needed. You
Hmm.
finally feel how you make yourself feel how you need to feel. Like you're not waiting on someone else to, you know what I mean? You were already full when you met your boyfriend
Yeah.
in order for him to even, you know what I mean, to reciprocate that.
Of course, of course.
So it's like I feel like when you're able to find that within yourself, you feel you're able to like, wow, it's just a magical feeling.
Yeah, it really, for me, like loving myself, like it took a long time to get here. When I tell
Yeah.
you, can't nobody tell me nothing about
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
the journey I took on my own
Mm.
to find myself through everything, like, can't
What
nobody
was
tell me
that
nothing.
moment? What was that moment for you where you was like, okay, I give
This
in.
is it.
I'm
Um,
going down there.
I think it was at a time when me and my daughter's father had separated.
Mm.
She was very young, and I felt like I was just all over the place. Like, I thought I was gonna be married and have a baby and the family and all these aspects. And
Yeah.
sometimes you plan things and they don't go as planned, and that's okay.
Right.
And I think I had to learn what acceptance was. Just
Mm.
acceptance in like things not happening the way you think.
Right.
And inside acceptance, that's where I found like who I was. Like,
Mm.
it's okay that I didn't do this at this age. It's okay that I didn't get to the,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So I had
Mhm.
to accept all the things that I felt like I should have been doing that I
Mhm.
didn't do, or whatever the case may be is. That was where I like found the hope, the faith,
Yeah.
the belief in
Mm.
myself.
Yeah.
Because at that point I was like searching and grabbing, and that's why the
Mm.
relationships were, tumultuous, and
Yeah.
all these type of things were happening to me.
Yeah.
But once that acceptance happened, and I was like, Shakira, it's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. You're not
It's
perfect.
okay.
No one's perfect. Like,
Yeah.
once I like apologized to myself for, thinking that I should have been this, and I wasn't,
Mm.
I think that apology to myself really shifted my mind frame and shifted my thought patterns to be like, girl, life is
Right.
happening to everyone.
And it's as it should. Like I was talking to my daughters the other day and I was just like this aha moment because I got married at 18 to their father
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I was guilted my parents and also myself just the, you're so young doing it. I thought and I'm getting married. That was my view back then. So I did it and it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't supposed to. Like, but everything happened as it should have. I have my beautiful daughters. I have, a lot of people our age don't even have kids. So I look at my timeline, I look at everything that happened for me, and I look back, I'm like, wow, it actually all makes sense for like where I'm at today. It actually was supposed to happen how it should have.
Mm-hmm.
So now I can remove the guilt and the shame and all these, narratives that were told to me that
Yeah.
that was wrong or
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it was all happening as it should have. And like you said, I can accept that. And now
Yeah.
I can like, because it caused me to feel like afraid to make choices, like feeling like, okay, I did this at one point and it didn't work out the best. So now I don't think I have what it takes to
Yeah.
have a relationship, or I don't think I know how to choose. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Make choices
You were
for
able to
myself.
trust yourself more.
Right. It brought that back for me.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at in my life currently. Like, you can't trust me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you actually had it all along.
Yeah, it feels good to be in that space like, oh, I can
Yeah.
trust myself to do these things. And
Mhm.
if the outcome doesn't come the way I want it, it's okay.
Right.
Like, I'm always like, girl, take the risk. And if it doesn't come out,
It's always going to
it's
work out for
always-
the good. It's always going
listen,
to work out for the
you're
good.
always in the right place at the right time. Things are meant to be. You're never going to
Yeah.
miss anything that's meant for you. So listen, carry on how you carry on.
Let's talk about Be Heard.
Oh, let's
Be
talk about
Heard.
it.
Tell the
Yeah.
people what Be Heard is.
So Be Heard is a brand I started maybe, I want to say like 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely coming into my deep healing journey, spirituality. And because of what I went through, I was watching friends and families and sometimes strangers
Mm-hmm.
that were just going through things with no outlet to talk to anyone. Like, they have the hotlines and the calls and
Right.
all these things. And I was like, you know what? I want people to realize like, you can share your story. Someone needs to hear your story. Someone
Mhm.
needs to know what you're going through. So I created the space, like a community space
Mm-hmm.
for people to feel safe, no matter the age, the gender, the race, to tell their story so other people can hear, so people can be like, oh, I resonate with that.
Right.
Just so people can get it out. And, the community can build. So mental health and talking about mental
It's
health is
real.
not a stigma.
It's not.
Like, especially
We
in our
all
community.
have
Yeah,
it.
especially in our
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I'm going through it too.
I think we're in a culture of make it all look good,
Yeah.
And it's like people are afraid to, I mean, I'm not saying you should get on. It's a hard balance because I'm also the person that says, why would you get on Instagram and cry? Like I'm that person that's like, critiquing people for those kind of things. But then it's
Yeah.
also like, but at the same time, be real. You know what I'm so it's like
It's like you're trying to
where's
teeter-totter.
Where's the balance? I don't know. I think we're trying to find that because social media hasn't been around forever. We're learning
Yeah.
how to navigate these spaces. But I think sometimes the glamour can make it a stigma, the mental
Yeah.
health, because
Yeah.
it appears that we all have it figured out. We all have it, you know what I mean? We all have it together.
Yeah. And that's what it was for me too, especially with my daughter. She's 12.
Hmm.
I just felt like I know how much like these kids are sponges, these teenagers, these
Yeah.
they're sponges. And I'm like, please, for the love of God, somebody create a space where they're letting these kids know like it doesn't come easy. You
It
don't
doesn't
want the
come
easy route.
right.
It takes hard work. It
Mm.
takes, you know what I mean, mental stability.
Yeah.
And I wanted to create a space where people could show these kids like, listen, I'm here and I got to the top and I have all these glitz and glamour and the pretty.
Yes.
But baby, I was at the bottom for a long time. I just want them to make it easy to make these kids, you know, realize like, listen, it's okay. You're going
Yeah.
through things, but you know, plan it out, map it out, be smart.
Make a plan.
Make a plan. Yeah, have
Yeah.
a plan and not just be on the social media like, oh, I want the cars, I want the money, I want the
Right.
diamonds.
My
like,
daughter told me she wanted a Hellcat. She has no
oh,
job.
she knows.
I don't know where the Hellcat was going to come from, but
She's
she
like,
thought that
well.
was going to be her first car, and she was serious.
Oh
I was
no,
like,
no,
oh, you really don't
they're
have
always serious when they ask for something.
you really don't have a, which leads me to my next point.
Yeah.
Dreams,
Mm.
like chasing our dreams, like the balance of that. How do you balance being a mother, chasing your dreams?
Yeah.
Just wearing all these different hats.
So that the dream chasing thing,
Yeah.
for a long time I really struggled with that, especially when I became a parent, because I was so used to parenting the way I was taught, which
Mhm.
was when you have a child, you no longer exist. Everything is
Yeah.
your child on the forefront. Nothing
That
else
never
matters.
sat right with me.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And when I tell you I struggled, I went into such a deep depression because at the
Yeah.
time, yes, granted, I was mature enough and I decided to have a child.
Yeah,
But at the
you
same
were
time,
still
I
a
was still
kid.
finding myself.
And still
Very
are.
much. And I still,
Yeah.
at
It's
35,
constantly.
I'm still, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me to watch that or hear that, like, oh, what do you mean you want to do this? You want to do that? Like, that's it. Everything needs to be wrapped around your kid. You don't matter, your thoughts, your dreams. I was in such a deep, dark
Yeah.
place. So I try to promote that into other people. Like, remember, before you were a mother, you were
You were
yourself. You were a
yourself.
person. You are
Yeah.
human. So don't forget about yourself. Yes,
Yeah.
your child is first, but baby, you the runner up.
Right.
Like, don't forget about your
Right.
hopes, your dreams, your aspirations. Like, you have to, because I feel like if I'm unwell, how am I going
How
to
am I
be
going to
able
show
to
up?
protect, provide, teach?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how am I going to be able to do these things for my child?
Right.
And I also want to show her that mommy fought for herself.
Right.
Like, I was going through it, but look what mommy did. Look what mommy's doing. Like, the same
Exactly.
thing. Like, I want her to be able to see, like, oh, I know mommy's stressed out sometimes, or mommy works all the time. But baby, if there's something in your heart that you feel that you are meant to be or you're meant to do, please
Fight for it.
fight for it.
Yep.
You have to. And I don't want anybody to forget themselves. And I did. I forgot myself for a
Yeah.
moment. And I thought I was nothing but broken promises and broken, you know, and
Yeah.
dreams lost. Like, I really had to fight for it. And it's hard.
It's hard.
So I want to make sure, like, she watches me and she understands that, you know, you don't have to go the same path as mommy,
Yeah.
but know that you can do it all if you want. You
And
can
I'm
do
gonna
it
show
all.
you how to make a 9 to 5, like still have that kind of stability if need be,
Yeah.
but still don't forget about your dreams.
Like, have a plan B, baby. Like, I
Yeah.
ask all the time, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to
Yeah.
be? You need to survive. So make sure survival is first,
Mhm.
and then whatever it is you want to do after.
Don't get lost in surviving though.
Yeah,
I think
very
that's,
much that
that's
too.
so easy to do. Like
Yeah.
it's always gonna be, oh, in 2 years I'm gonna do this, and it's like
The time
the
is
2 years just keeps turning into more and more years.
Yeah.
Like I work with so many people, and I mean everybody. I don't think everyone. We need nurses. We need trashmen. We need like everybody is playing a role.
yeah,
Like we need those roles, but I feel like the people who have these dreams that they know they are settling for the security of a job or a
Mhm.
401k or benefits when they're 65, it's like, but you're only 28. Benefits? Like
yeah,
what? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you
No,
have
I
to, in those
completely-
moments, you got to like just no fear.
Yeah, and
No
that's
fear.
the thing. I want people to realize to take a risk, and that's why I also would be heard. I'm like, listen,
Yeah,
you can do it all.
you can do it all.
You can do it all. Like, we're gonna teach balance, but you have to fight for you, and no
have-
one else is
yeah.
gonna do it for you. Like, I really learned that. You know,
Mhm.
sometimes it's like you look for the validation, you look for the support system, you look for the team, and sometimes it's not there.
It's not.
So you have to learn how to depend on yourself, because sometimes you're the only person that can save you.
Or the only person that's going to believe in you.
Yeah, some
sometimes you
people
got
aren't
a
gonna even
vision so
agree.
big that people's like, I don't see that. You know,
Yeah.
I was talking about this podcast when it was just me on my phone. You know what I mean? And now here I am in this room, and it's like, and I'm
Make
going
it
to keep
magic.
talking about it until it becomes visual. You know what I mean? Not to prove anything, to have to prove anything to anyone, more to prove it to myself.
Yeah. and that's the best feeling. You heard what you said, prove it to yourself.
Prove me to myself.
Like that is the main key that I'm trying to get to. Everyone I speak to my daughter, is to yourself.
Yeah.
Like you have to stay firm in who you are, firm in what you believe in. Like everything else is gonna come after.
Yep.
Everything comes after.
One question.
Of course.
What's the last thing you did that scared the crap out of you?
I moved to Los Angeles with my daughter.
Whew. Yeah.
I took that leap.
That leap.
Yeah. I've been saying it for a really, really long time. And it was, of course, a dream of mine when I was younger because I was like, oh, I'm going to be on TV and movies. And of course,
right. The glamour,
you know, the glamour.
Yeah.
That soon faded. But yeah, I kept saying like, I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to move to LA. And everyone's like, LA, there's no one there. You have no family there.
And where did you move from?
Harlem. New York City.
Harlem in the house. And all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. That's
I really did.
By yourself with your daughter?
With my daughter, yeah. And we did it. So that was very scary because of course I moved around here and there, but to move so far, take the risk. I'm so big on like, all right, this is not working or I'm going to try it. I'm going to see. At least, listen, I tried it.
But I feel like it's like God inside of you. Like you just feel this, you feel something like you feel it pushing you like where you can't even stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's when I know it's like God because it's like, it's like, it's going to make me have to do it because I'm so consumed in my thoughts behind it. Like I have this desire. And I just know, like, okay, I have to do this.
I get it. You feel it.
And then there's some moments when it's like nothing, like I'm able to chill, and I'm like, life is good. And then I feel that feeling again, like, come on, God, can I relax for a little bit? You know, because it's like it can be scary and intimidating and confusing and a lot of other feelings when you feel it's time to level up. It's time to grow.
But at least you feel that. At least you can recognize that. A lot of people miss their moments, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like you know yourself, and that's the most beautiful thing when you know yourself. You feel that inside of you, like, oh, okay, this is the calling, this is the purpose, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is my call to action. Like that's what it is. So that's amazing that you feel that.
It goes back to trusting yourself. Like I'm really developing that still, and the more I say yes, and the more I follow that feeling and that intuition, that guidance, the more confidence, the more I trust myself, and that all bleeds over into self-love. It just across the board just makes you, a big light. People see that, like they see the excitement in your eyes. They feel your energy like, dang, like what makes you so happy every day? Even though I'm walking into the same job as them, I'm whistling, I'm skipping, you know what I mean? I have a different pep in my step. My mind's other places, creating and still alive, very much alive, in my passion projects and things like that. So,
but that's the amazing feeling. People are like, you're so happy, you're so this. I'm like, I feel good.
Yeah, I feel amazing.
Like and things don't even have to be going the way you really want them to. I just know
great
it's
things
coming
ahead, and there's so much in the works that I don't see or know about in the moment, but it's on the way, and when it pops, it's gonna pop.
I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready because you took those steps to get to where it was, and it's an amazing feeling. It feels so good
knowing you put in the work, and you're like, you know what I mean?
It's coming.
It's coming. Like I paid my dues. I love that.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to leave the people with? Like, where can they find you at?
I mean, you can find me on my social media. My business page is beheard.bh and my personal page is Chakirah.xo.
Okay.
So yeah, if you guys want to reach out to me on Instagram, I'm always healing.
Your panel was amazing.
That was
amazing. She had a sound bath. She had meditation.
Yeah. It's a good time.
We made candles where we wrote everything that we want to.
We did some releasing.
We released some things. We broke plates. It was so therapeutic.
Yeah.
You definitely have to continue to do that.
Of course. Listen, that's what I'm here for. I'm really here to be of service to people and of service to myself because I also learn in my workshops as well. Like when I'm talking to people, I'm like, listen, it's interactive. Like we're gonna engage. Like we know each other. So I share a story, you share a story. Like we're never know what can help. Yeah. Like
I love
we just
how you're
want to
making
connect.
your own lane, and it's just like a refreshing thing to see. Even how you're doing it with the Warner Music Group.
Yeah.
Just how you created like a really dope space.
I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create safe spaces, places that I want to be or I wish that I had when I was growing up. That's what I'm trying to create. That's it.
I'm so glad that you were able to make time. You drove an hour to be here on the podcast with me. Thank you so much.
Girl, anything for you. Anything for you.
Thank you so much,
of
man.
Course.
Like we got to do it again ASAP.
Of course.
Definitely going to stay in touch as far as whatever you have going on. Definitely will keep each other in the know.
Of course. You already know we connected.
Yeah, for sure. Please continue to recycle your trash, not your trauma. I am your host, Pink Rose. Until next time.